Third time's a charm. I've been trying to do this video 3 different times and I have been interrupted. Last night outside my client's work, there was men talking. Now, I'm only going to go through the last part where I got cut off. One of their new lies, because they keep trying to change the lie to meet the situation. Okay? So that guy that was talking to the officer that was assigned to me that day, he said, well, they were saying they did it with their own home security cameras inside the house. We didn't have security cameras inside our home. In 2017, when we had the attempt to break in, we called ADT. The salesperson came out, offered us all these different packages. They said we have beepers for windows and doors. And we also offer motion detectors, and they only pick up motion. And that's all they pick up is motion. And they'll set off the siren. And it won't pick up anything under 10 pounds if you have little animals running around. She said, we also offer cameras. Well, Dave lost it. No one will take me in my home. I have rights. I have the right to privacy. I'll sue you. She's like, whoa. It's just a package we offer. But for us to even do that, everyone living in that home has to sign off on it. And then we have to register with the police department that we're monitoring you in your home. Otherwise, it's illegal. He said, I'll sue you. She's like, it's just a package. We do have just motion detectors. He's like, only motion? He said, yes. No cameras. No. Just motion. If you walk in front of it, it'll set the siren off. And it'll notify the police. Okay? He said, long as they're only motion. She said, yes, just motion. We had the motion detectors, and we had purchased so many window and door beepers. And that's all we had. And yeah, because he lost it on that sales lady. We did not have cameras in our home. We had bought a cheap thing through Home Depot that you could set up your own cameras outside. And it was only like $199. It came with 4 cameras. I had to pay Josh to come over, my son. He wired them because they weren't wireless. They had to be wired. And one was mounted facing the front porch, one to the back porch, and one to the side yard only. Okay? And we left the other one in the box. After the case started, people were pulling in looking at me. And when I get up to go see what they needed or what was wrong, they take off. So when we leave, Dave we took the other one out of the box, laid it on the boat with an extension cord. Or laid it on the boat under the tarp. And we'd have to plug it in ourselves. We had no cameras in my home. Now, I was working in August of 18 outside. I was moving wood. David dropped trees, chunk it, and I would either roll it down to where the garage area was, and I had bought an electric wood splitter because we had got an energy efficient wood burner. Or I'd load up with a tractor and a little trailer and bring it over and stack it for him. I worked really hard on that house. Okay. Well, up in Ravenna, there was these 3 giant hawks. And then when they showed up, they're like swarm. Why little 7-pound white cotton terriers? I tied Lincoln and Lily up while I was moving wood. And they're pouncing around on each other. I look up and I see those hawks. Well, they look like little bunny rabbits to them. It's like, we gotta go in. So I go over, and they had tangled themselves up in their leashes because they were pouncing each other. Got Lincoln undone, and I went to get Lily, and then I went to pick him up too, and I'm watching for those hawks. And as I go around the corner, because they were wiggling, wanting down, they're like bad kids, little tiny puppies. And I'm trying to hold on to both of them at one time. Well, Lincoln nipped me, and I dropped it, so I grabbed his collar, and I pulled him in the house, and I'm looking for that hawk, because that'd be the worst thing in the world to see some hawk swarm down and grab my puppy and take off with him. I was in like a frantic to get him in that house. Had a little bruise even a week later. It's only 7 pounds. It can only, But I still had a little bruise. Okay. Well, I had took a video of me taking them in. And you can see where there's only front porch, back porch, side yard. That's all you can see. That system was not good enough to support more than 4 cameras. See, that's where ADT said when they set up cameras, it could only be in the living room and family room and kitchen, that they weren't allowed in bedrooms, no matter what, or bathrooms. And everyone in that house would have to sign off of it, and they'd have to register it with the police department for it to even be legal. Dave's threatened to sue him and all this other stuff, and we never got cameras inside the home. We only had 2 motion detectors facing the doors that we brought from Lennox, where even that agent on a recorded line mocked me for some guy named Pete. He called them Pete's tapes. Where on April 16, 23, Danny, I heard him across the parking lot talking to Gabe. Okay? He said, I finally went to Dad, asked him what on earth is going on. He said he hired some guy named Pete on his own, and it was Pete and his men in her home before. Pete has her framed. Pete has her tape the filthy, dirty statement. I've never talked to him. Now, in January to March of 19, I started Faith Family Church. The Florida drug cartel showed up there. 3,000 people seen them. They said they were from Judge Peters from Florida. Michelle was with them. And there was a little old white man, looked like a deranged Santa Claus. He was telling everybody he was retired Judge Pete, friends with Ludick. Judge Ludick letting him get away with crimes. I never talked to him. I only seen him at Faith Family Church and a couple other places following me around. Okay? I've never met him in person, and I've never talked to him in person. So when that agent said something about Pete, I didn't even know who he was talking about at that time. Because I've never seen him, never talked to him. The only Pete I knew was my brother in Medina. Today in Bob Evans, some guys were at another table talking. Said, You're trying to say some drug cartel guy walked into an FBI office and tried to scam him? He started laughing. He said, yeah. He said, oh, come on. He's like, a drug cartel guy walked into an FBI office and tried to scam the FBI. He said, yep. He said, and that agent couldn't turn it down. He said everybody feels bad how bad she got hurt. But he couldn't turn it down if the cartel thought they could scam him. They were laughing about. Do you know where I told you I had to get my puppies in the house real quick and how bad they were being, me trying to hold on to two? Do you know some idiot showed up? Her pulling that dog into the house, that's abuse. Oh, so I should just let the hawk have him and say, see ya, bye? There was 3 of them swarming. I have pictures of them swarming. And they were massive. Yeah, I got my dogs in the house. They wanted to stay out and play and romp. But not with hawks flying over. And they look like little bunny rabbits from the sky. No. Not hawk food. See, that's where the Florida drug cartel was around me 6 months before the case. That's why I was almost kidnapped in front of Terry Coberly. That's why I was almost carjacked when we first moved out. And in March 18, Dave insisted we went to this one restaurant. We never went to. Went in, it was almost empty. There was a couple over against the window, and there was an older couple sitting there. A young blonde girl with long blonde hair walks by and goes, giving me a face. Sits down, rams her body in the back of the booth. Does he think it's funny bringing her here? I said, Dave, who is that? He's like, I don't know. Bam! I said, Dave, who is that? He's like, I don't know. Then they start talking about Dave by name. I said, Dave, who are those people? They seem to know you. Bam! And she hits the back of my booth so hard it knocks me to the table. And he's like, are you okay? And I said, yes. I said, can I sit on your side? He's like, yes. He wraps his arms around me. He's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah. I said, who are those people? He's like, I don't know. He told Danny and all them that some crazy blonde girl showed up ramming her body in the back of Mom's booth until she had to sit on my side of the booth. Okay? Well, I didn't see that girl again until like 19 or 2020 at Wood Forest. She shows up in like khaki pants, maybe 90 to 100 pounds, long blonde hair, walks up as if you don't know what's going on, and walks off. I thought I've seen you before. Where have I seen you? And I've lived through hell. It took me a while. I thought, you're the girl from that restaurant. Then I got to thinking, there was 3 sets of mean parents waiting for me to die from my injuries. And they would tell people that. That was that old couple with her. That was one of the 3 mean parents. They were there in March of 18, 6 months before the case. That's where Michelle Kegi, that lives at 124 Lenox in Maslin, she told me she's seen a car with 2 guys watching my house for months before I moved out. And she'd watch them, and they'd sit and stare at my house, pull up, and just stare at it. He was having me stalked at Lenox. See, when we moved up to Ravenna, on the 6th day while we were at the storage unit, someone kicked our door into the wall. Literally kicked it into the wall. If you line up the doorknob to the wall, there is a hole in it. We had to put mesh in it, plaster, go over it several times, electric sander. It did a really good job, but if you scratch off the paint, there's a big, huge patch. Dave said, don't report it. Another realtor probably passed out keys. That's when the button cameras were supposed to go up, the stocking tapes. By the second week, I'm almost passing out in front of the neighbor next door. I'm collapsing. He comes running over. I'm a nurse. Can I help you? I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. My heart's racing through my neck. Got marks on me. And I keep almost collapsing. And he said, I'll mow your lawn for it. I don't have money to pay you. Neighbors don't pay each other. And I said, but I feel bad. And he makes small talk, and I finally give in and let him mow my lawn. And it kept happening. I would be working outside, I'd come in, and I'd take a drink out of a 2-liter diet, wash my hands, make something to eat and drink, go in and use the bathroom, wash my hands better, come out and take a drink in the room, go to the same black. Wake up with injection marks, orange, lemon, grapefruit sized bruises all over me. Throwing up, almost passing out in front of people. Migraine, headache, and then I had a severe swollen personal infection. Only thing new to me is that house. And the well water was orange. And it took us a couple months to get the water treatment system in. So I had to bring in water to cook and drink, but you have to take a shower real quick, and you have to wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. Here I'm being drugged, beaten, raped, and human trafficked out of that house. And I'm going into the doctor's office. What on earth is wrong with me? Is it the dirty well water? And I kept telling him that. I thought it was giving me cancer and killing me. Never seen or talked to anybody. Never even had my neighbors inside my home. I only had family and repair guys and installation guys. On August 8th of 18 at midnight, I had a light in the outside security system. Call 911. The officers that came out were silly. They said, it looks like an alien orb or an angry spirit, ma'am. And I offered them water because I thought they were dehydrated. Because who talks like that? And then they told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it next time somebody comes on my property. They didn't want bothered. I didn't have anybody else in my home. Never seen, never talked to anybody. I told you I have 3 weird memories, and I thought they were nightmares. Of sound of footsteps. A white man's arm with a syringe coming at me in the room going dark, and feeling like my back's being ripped open to my chest, and I can't see, I can't breathe. And I'm screaming in agony, and every part of my body is in pain, and all I can hear is my wails. And nothing attached to it. I thought they were nightmares. Here I'm being drugged, being raped, drugged up and told to say stuff. See, that's where that guy said last night, I heard they were drugging her up real bad up there. The guy's like, you don't understand how bad they were drugging her up. Drugging me up and telling me to say stuff. See, that's where people of the last few days, what do you mean she's never met that attorney's office? I haven't. What do you mean she don't know who they are? How would you like sexual predators to prey on you like this? And then they run around where they've drugged you up and told you to say stuff, Photoshop, showering in the other room I found out, laughing at me they did this and how they framed me. In front of the police and the FBI. Huh? See, Dave's church and Dave thought they got rid of the FBI, and they think they followed that agent. He opened a real case with statements, court order, for the police to surveillance me. FBI informant. And they were following everyone around. That's how they got Melissa telling the kids to lie, and the kids stating they were lying on Thanksgiving of 18, and they were making everything up. And they have these people, how they framed me, how they drugged me and told me to say it before, how they photoshopped all their lies, including that shower scene of washing yourself in another room. They even made fun of the FBI. They made fun of everybody for falling for it. They got Melissa telling the kids to lie, the kids stating they were lying on Thanksgiving of 18 because they wanted the house for Auntie Shaw and Papa. They have my whole family defending me and speaking highly of me, and these people and how they frame me. And that Dave hired this guy Pete on his own. It's just some guy. You do realize that attorney's office, where the Louisville police were outside, said it was some attorney's office. Some guy said that he was an attorney and her ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. They thought it made it legal. It doesn't. No, it don't.